What in your opinion, is the most reasonable proof of God? What have you found to be the most convincing proof of God's existence?
Well, my experience is that there is tremendous interest in hearing a rational, fair discussion of issues related to religious belief.
I completely agree with Dr. Craig, first of all, and I also have to say that this particular conversation is fascinating for me personally because I know Dr. Craig through recording him in a documentary film that I made like 10 years ago, and then I also had the privilege of working directly with Ben Shapiro over the last year producing his video content at the Daily Wire. And so to see these two intellects merging together and to see the conversation that they have, where Dr. Craig is bringing together the Christian perspective, obviously, and Ben with the Jewish perspective, but to see the overlap that they have around the reasonability, the plausibility of the existence of God, and then to see the friction in a good way that they bring about through their dialogue around the person of Christ. I think this is a absolutely fantastic conversation, and so we're gonna play a couple clips of it, and then I'll kind of react to those, speak into those, as someone who knows both of these guys at a personal level. So I hope you enjoy. Let's continue.
Well, one of the things I think that's happened in the religious community is you see people who are brought up in religious homes and they're taught the stories of the Bible. They're never taught any deeper philosophy or theology that attaches to that. So they have sort of a children's eyes view of what God is and how to think about God. You sort of think of God still as the old man in the sky who's controlling things. What in your opinion, is the most reasonable proof of God? What have you found to be the most convincing proof of God's existence?
Well, I think that those are two questions. For me, my favorite argument for the existence of God that I find the most compelling is a version of the cosmological argument, which goes like this. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. Something can't just come into being from nothing. Secondly, the universe began to exist. I think we have both good philosophical arguments and scientific evidence for the finitude of the past, from which it follows, third, therefore the universe has a cause. And when you do a conceptual analysis of what it is to be a cause of the universe, you arrive at a being which is an uncaused, beginningless, timeless, spaceless, enormously powerful, personal creator of the universe.
I don't think that there's a good response to this argument. There's a lot of ways of trying to work around it. There's the classic response of, well, then what about God? Who created God? That sort of attempt to debunk this argument actually fails to properly understand the first premise of the argument, which is that everything that began to exist has a cause, and God, by definition, is a creature who was not created, is not a creature at all in that sense, is the one thing that did not begin to exist, but has always existed. That's literally what we mean when we talk about God, is a eternal, timeless, cosmic intelligence behind everything, behind space, time, and matter. If you put anything else in that God category, it becomes way less logical. If you really think about it, the universe couldn't have always existed. And actually, modern astrophysics bear that out. They are pointing us to a universe that is finite and that has a definite beginning at a certain point in time, which actually affirms the biblical narrative that there was a particular moment when God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Which I think is amazing. I love it when science catches up to theology.